So it seems like recently the whole market has sort of calmed down in a way that, a few months ago we had Sword and Shield boxes just literally jumping from two to 300 to $400 in a few weeks. It was crazy during that time. I remember making videos about it. It was insane. And then we also had Scarlet and Violet boxes go on crazy runs. We saw boxes go from under MSRP and around the 120s, 130s, go all the way up to 160s. Some of those boxes now are at 180s. But now in the past like month, not anything super interesting has happened to this market because everything is pretty expensive. Everything has already run up. However, there are some products that recently have been going up, and I wanted to show you guys those today and give my thoughts about them. So the first one here I wanted to talk about is the Prismatic Evolutions Pokemon Center Elite Trainer boxes. Now I told you guys this was going to surpass 151 Pokemon Center Elite Trainer boxes in the time frame that it took 151 to get to where it's at now. And I see that happening. Prismatic Evolutions Pokemon Center Elite Trainer boxes. I remember when this came out. These went all the way down to 220s. I know here it doesn't really say, but they went down to the 220s because I remember talking about them. And I said at 220, I sounded crazy. And you can go back to that video. I said it was not a bad buy because the chance you get a restock or even catch it was super unlikely. Has that restock, whatever, even came yet? It hasn't. And since then, they've gone up $100. It was that quick, right? So, when I made that video, maybe I don't know if I got criticism or not. To be honest, I don't even remember. But at 220, I said it wasn't a bad buy. Well, now the lowest listed is $325. So look how quickly that went up. It was, in my opinion, pretty obvious it was cheap. But I maybe at the time it sounded crazy. But look at it here. It's already over $300. And what's interesting about this product, and it goes to show how strong Prismatic Evolutions is. I had a local card store around me. I went on their website and I saw they had a couple of these available for $300. They had two available. I checked in the morning, and then later I checked in the evening. They got sold. So people are paying these prices for these products, and that's why when I saw Prismatic Evolutions, PCETBs at 220s on release when they dropped, I'm like, who's really selling this right now? Like, I don't know who sold at 220. I know some people were doing it to get their cost bases low for their other products, but I literally said, why would you sell right now? It is literally the worst time. If you would have waited a month, they would have gone up 50%. So, I still see this going much higher. Think about it. Prismatic Evolutions is now, like a month old? This is going to surpass 151 PCETBs, I think, very soon. That's just my opinion. Because if you look at 151 PCETBs, it's at the lowest listed is 385. So you can see how quickly Prismatic Evolutions is already catching up, that these were literally at low 200s less than a month ago. So yeah, I think this will surpass it at some point here very soon, especially since we're not getting, or we haven't gotten the restock yet. I think some people are just paying up for it because, who knows when it's going to get restocked. It's going to be a random time. And also we have this new queue thing. It's unlikely a lot of people are going to get anything, so that's why at low 200s when it dropped, I said, you know what, it's probably not a bad buy because you're probably not going to get anything, and a lot of people probably aren't. So it's at 320. If you still don't have one, I wouldn't at this point. At low 200s, it was so much of an easier buy. At this point, it's not as attractive because it has gone up so much just recently. But if you want one, honestly, like I said, you're probably not going to get one on the Pokemon Center website, so you might as well just buy now because it's not going to go down, right, in a month from now. In a few months, you think it's going to be cheaper. It's probably not, so I'm not going to recommend it as an investment, but if you just want one, maybe go on eBay, try to find a better price. Maybe you'll find some for under 300. I haven't checked because the lowest listed here is 325, but if you can get it under for $300, maybe that's a pickup, but I would say now it's a little bit of a harder buy because you could have bought them for 220 when they dropped. So those are my thoughts about this. In 151, it looks like it's going to get surpassed pretty soon by Prismatic PCETBs, which I was expecting to happen, but it is happening a lot quicker than I thought. Now, some other things with some booster boxes. So Paldea Evolved has officially gone. I don't think it has done it before, but recently did drop and then went back up, so it's above $200 again. Paldea Evolved is definitely one of the boxes. If you compare to a lot of the other ones, like a lot of the newer Scarlet and Violet booster boxes, Paldea Evolved is actually not that bad of a buy because Obsidian Flames booster boxes are basically 200 bucks. And Obsidian Flames, it's right after Paldea Evolved, but it's crazy that Obsidian Flames is that expensive. And Paldea Evolved, I mean, is a much better set. I think just everyone knows that. So Paldea Evolved, even at this price point, is probably not going to get reprinted. I would still say it's a good pickup for what it is. It's almost 2 years old now. There's a lot of other products like Stellar Crowns, like 170. Some other newer ones like I'm going to show you here, like Twilight, Temporal. Those are pretty expensive too. So Paldea Evolved, basically it's not getting reprinted. So I would even say this is actually sort of underpriced because I mean the Magikarp's like 250 bucks. So I think Paldea Evolved is a decent pickup, but it is over $200 now. So Temporal Forces, I've been talking about this booster box recently because it was going to go on a run because it was, I was looking at supply. They were at, I think, just MSRP. And I said, you know what, looking at the supply, probably going to go on a run. And right now, lowest listed is 175 bucks. So it's officially over MSRP. It's been for a while, but recently it's gone up even more. So this is now about 10 to 15 bucks over MSRP. So on the Pokemon Center, you can still buy these. So I would say once these even go further on a run, they will probably sell out on Pokemon Center. You can still buy in case quantity. And if you do look at the listings here, you can see there's this listing for 175. There's 6 of them. And you can see down here, it quickly goes to 180 after this sells. It goes to 180. And you can see, after these sell out, it goes to 200 very quickly. You can see on the next page, it hits 200 down here. Not that much supply. And you look at the sales volume, you can see recently, the past few days, around 10 have sold every day. Some days like 5 sell, but anywhere from 5 to 10 sell every single day. So do the math. In a few weeks from now, these might be around 200 bucks. So yeah, I would say in Pokemon Center, if you don't have any of these right now, that's definitely a deal because you're getting it cheaper than market price. So I think Temporal Forces booster boxes on Pokemon Center have become a lot more attractive now because you're saving about $10 to $15 per box. You do that, for a case that's like anywhere from $60 to $90 you're saving. So I think Temporal Forces Pokemon Center is a pretty good buy as of right now. So for Twilight, this is a really interesting one. The cheapest listing now is $207. I remember when this for a while was kind of stagnating, like around right here. It was seeing like drops. It was really weird because the Greninja during the whole time was still 300 bucks. But recently it has really gone up, and a big reason why this is happening is because the Greninja SIR in the set, there's been some recent sales, near mint copies in the 400s. So I think that's a big reason why this is starting to move more. And you can see that now it's above 200 bucks. And like I said, it is kind of crazy to think of Paldea Evolved is almost probably like a year older than Twilight, but it's a little bit cheaper now. But Twilight does have a more expensive card. It also has just generally more expensive cards, but I feel like I just like Paldea better than Twilight. But hey, Twilight has a more expensive card and the booster box more expensive, so kind of makes sense, but it is newer. So Twilight is kind of, I would say now, a hard buy because it could definitely still get reprinted. It's the 6th main set, so I think it still has a chance. It's not that old, so probably wouldn't buy at this price, but it has gone up above 200 bucks, which is kind of crazy to see because, like I said, recently it did have some sort of kind of just stagnation, and then it just went on a run. So next I want to talk about 151 Elite Trainer boxes quickly here. So I always compare this to Prismatic because I feel like it's such a fair comparison to do so. But people that say Prismatic Evolutions is expensive now, I mean, look at 151. 151 Elite Trainer boxes are almost 200 bucks. And, at 200 bucks, these Elite Trainer boxes, if you see it like here and you look at, Prismatic Evolutions, I'll keep comparing them. Prismatic Evolutions is so underpriced. I mean, in time, people will, finally realize it. But 151, if it can get to this point at 200 bucks and the set's a year and a half old, think about Prismatic Evolutions, right? And 151 has also had like different restocks and stuff with different products recently. Blooming Waters and the booster bundles, I think, have recently gotten like reprinted or whatever. And just throughout the duration of this set, there's been restocks and stuff, not exactly like full-blown reprints, which kind of, as you can see here, look at this growth. I think Prismatic Evolutions is probably going to be, it's really hard to say because this market is different than what 151 was when it was like, going up in value. But Prismatic Evolutions, I feel like I could be wrong, but I feel like it's going to be similar to 151, where it's going to get restocks, it's going to get reprints, but it's not going to tank the price like people think it's going to do. And I think 151 is a pretty good indicator about Pokemon and kind of their mentality with reprints, because think about it. If 151 Elite Trainer boxes are almost, you know, quadruple MSRP, like, you would think Pokemon would have reprinted 151, right? Like, why haven't they? Why haven't they reprinted Elite Trainer boxes 151? Why haven't they done it? Why haven't they just reprinted 151 into the ground? It got a lot of people back into the hobby. Isn't this a set Pokemon would want to make money on and make it cheaper for people? Because a lot of people like 151. Why haven't they done that? You know what I'm saying? So I'll keep talking about it. I think 151 is a very good indicator of what's probably going to happen with Prismatic. I think this whole price crash with Prismatic is sort of blown out of proportion, but that's just my opinion. I could be wrong. Maybe they do decide to print just Prismatic into the ground. Maybe. But 151, I mean, why is it this expensive? Why hasn't Pokemon printed this into the ground? Who knows? But it's very expensive. In my opinion, I've talked about it before. I think this is overpriced. I would not be buying really these at this price at 200 bucks. In my opinion, I know I sound crazy because I'm just biased, I guess, but Prismatic Evolutions ETBs is a much better buy than 151 at this time. Because at 200 bucks, I think 151 ETBs is just a hard buy in my opinion. A $200 Elite Trainer box, it's a year and a half old, it's not that old, and look at the value in the set. I think it's overpriced. So that's all my thoughts about 151. I just don't think it's a really good buy right now. And lastly, I wanted to show you guys this because I know Sword and Shield has just kind of been somewhat on a downfall recently. All the booster boxes, they ran up, then they had their little like price dip you can see here. But specifically, I checked all the other Sword and Shield booster boxes. Not really much has been happening with those. But recently, Lost Origin booster boxes, one day 23 sold. I don't know what caused this, to be honest. I don't know if those just one person just buying all the cheap boxes, but as you can see here, the cheapest box is now 360. And if you actually look at the supply on the market, it does look like this is going to climb back up to $400 here pretty soon, if not much gets listed. You can see the sales volume is pretty low, but you can see there's actually not much listed under 400 bucks. I can actually count here for you guys. There's 1, 2, 4, 8, 12, 13, 14, 15, and then we hit 400 bucks. So just 15 boxes. Like I said, sales volume is pretty low, so it's not going to be overnight, but it does look like it's going to climb back to what it was relatively soon, if none get listed after, me saying this. So there's not that much, but yeah, there was a day where a ton got bought out. So just wanted to show this because it was interesting that there was this huge spike that one day. But yeah, just want to do this overview of these products, some products that have been going up, and my thoughts about them. So yeah, that's the end of the video. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one.